Have you ever wanted to go to Japan? Well, you are going to want to watch this video. I've crammed in so many things, from the city lights of Tokyo to the bamboo forest of Arashiyama. Minasan, konnichiwa. Hi friends, I hope you're all doing good. Welcome to another exciting video. Today we are going to Japan. Yes, that is right, we are going to Japan. I was lucky enough to spend 2 weeks in Japan last year and I did so many cool things. The country blew me away, so I've put together this travel guide of all the best things to do in Japan. Before we go anywhere, please consider subscribing to my channel. The subscribe button is down there or down there, I'm not quite sure, but you're going to want to do that so you do not miss future travel content, because I have some very exciting things coming soon. Starting off our Japanese adventure, you will most likely land in Tokyo Narita Airport. I would suggest getting the Skyliner train, which takes you from the airport directly to central Tokyo. So there is a big misconception that Japan is an expensive place to travel. I'm going to tell you it's not. I did it completely on a budget and I had a really good time. Now, compared to Southeast Asian countries such as Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, it's probably a lot more expensive. However, it's not crazy expensive. I've been to places like Singapore, Australia, and LA. They were so much more expensive than Japan. Now, firstly, you are going to need to consider what you're going to do for accommodation. So I would highly recommend staying in a pod hotel / hostel. They are just incredible. Like, I've stayed in hotels all around the world, but I've also stayed in hostels all around the world. And let me tell you, my favorite hostels are in Japan. And this is why. They are clean, they're friendly, they're inexpensive, and some of them have Dyson hairdryers. I have a video all about hostels in Japan, which I will link up here so you can check that out. So I'm going to break this video up into different cities. I went to 4 or 5 cities in Japan. So we're going to start off with Tokyo. Now, Tokyo is a really big city. There is a lot to do. There's lots of districts. There is a lot going on. I spent overall about 7 days. I would suggest spending a minimum of 3 to 5 days, and that will allow you to fully enjoy Tokyo as a city. I would suggest spending your first full day just getting lost around the city. Head to Harajuku, head to Shinjuku, head to Shibuya. There is so many places in Tokyo, it will blow your mind. I stopped off at like little cafes and got matcha tea lattes and just walked around the shopping centers and walked around the shops in Harajuku. There is just so much to see. Tokyo is truly a magical city and it's a place that I would definitely be returning to. Over the next few days whilst you're in Tokyo, I would suggest doing these things. Visit the Shibuya crossing, which is one of the most iconic crossings in the world. I saw it during the daytime and had fun taking photos and crossing the road a bunch of times. If you want the best view of the crossing, try and get a seat in Starbucks. It looks so cool at night, so try and see it in the day and again at night. Fun fact, 2,500 people can cross this road at one time. The thing that I love most about Tokyo is how there is such a contrast between it being a vibrant modern city and it being filled with traditional shrines and just oozing with history. Asakusa was one of my favorite places in Tokyo. I'd highly recommend spending a full day here. A little tip, if you go up to the 8th floor on the visitors center, you can see some cool views of this Tokyo skytree. Over the road you have Sensoji, which is a really beautiful temple. It's free to walk around and you can even get your fortune read by donating and pulling a slip out. I wasn't so fortunate, I actually pulled out a bad fortune. Another cool spot to check out is Shinjuku. This was probably one of my favorite areas of Tokyo. Definitely check out the Godzilla on top of the cinema, very cool. Another thing I did was I actually booked a day trip to go and see Mount Fuji. Now, I bought this on Klook and I thought the full day trip would be to Mount Fuji. It was just the morning that we spent at Mount Fuji and we did a matcha tea experience. If you do this, I would definitely recommend just booking the half-day tour because the rest of the afternoon was just shopping in outlet centers. If you're into shopping, do that, but I wasn't. I didn't really enjoy it. Unfortunately, I couldn't see Mount Fuji because the weather was so bad, but I will definitely be trying to go and see Mount Fuji next time I visit Japan, so check that one out. There is also a lot more things to do in Tokyo that I booked, which unfortunately, due to COVID, I couldn't attend. They'd cancelled them. These things were Tokyo Disneyland, Team Lab Borderless Science Museum, and the Robot Museum. So if you go to Tokyo, please do those things. I'm also aware that travel to Japan is not possible right now, but I thought I'm gonna make a fun video because I wanna inspire people to travel to Japan one day. So you can go ahead down below and save it for future travel inspo and give you a bit of idea of how to plan a future trip to Tokyo and the rest of Japan. So next up, you're going to want to hop on a bullet train and take a nice little ride down to Kyoto, where I would suggest spending 3 or 4 nights. My highlights in Kyoto were waking up early and visiting the Arashiyama bamboo forest. This place blew me away. It was so peaceful at 6 AM, so try and get there before it's full of tourists. Whilst you're in Arashiyama, you're going to want to check out the monkey park, which is lovely. They are wild monkeys, so you do want to be careful, but they are so cute and they're just roaming around. One of my trip highlights was going to Fushimi Inari Taisha, which is in Kyoto. I really hope I've pronounced that correctly. If you have ever seen photos of Japan, you will have come across these orange gates, which are traditional shrines in Japan, and they go on for miles, so I would definitely bring a good pair of walking shoes. Next up, we have Hiroshima. So again, hop on the bullet train and head down to Hiroshima for a day or 2. I would suggest renting a bike and cycling the city. It is easily done and by far the best way to see Hiroshima. Make sure to swing by and check out the site of the A-bomb. There is so much history in the city. They also have a Peace Memorial Museum where you can learn about the atomic bomb that was dropped over Hiroshima during World War II. I really loved Hiroshima because you could just feel the history in the city, and everyone here was just everyone's very friendly in Japan anyway, but I felt like in Hiroshima they were extra friendly. So after Hiroshima, you're gonna want to take another train ride down to Osaka, where I stayed a couple of nights. Now I will say Osaka felt very different to the rest of Japan. It had a bit of an edge to it. It was a cool city, it was very electric, it was very interesting. I probably wouldn't return there again. It wasn't my favorite place out of the rest of Japan, but I'm glad I went there and I saw Osaka. So from Osaka, I actually got a short train ride. I think it was like 30 to 40 minutes up to Nara, and I spent the day walking around Nara Deer Park. Slightly terrifying, but very cute. So Nara Deer Park, there are just deers walking around the town, and it's incredible. You can actually buy food and feed the deers, but I would be careful because I did see quite a few people getting, I'd say, intimidated by the deers. Like as soon as they know you've got food, they are coming up to you constantly. I didn't do this, but I definitely felt very cautious around the deers. Here you can interact with the deers who are just roaming around. There are also other shrines and palaces which I would recommend visiting. There is definitely an abundance of activities and things to see and do in Japan. I've probably not covered them all, so if you have any suggestions, please leave them down in the comments below. People might be planning future trips and they can definitely look at the comments and see other places to go and see. I love getting a recommendation because I feel like if someone's done it, that means it's good. I feel like I can't wait to go back to Japan already. Like I loved it so much. It was the most interesting place I've been in the world, and I definitely want to check out Disneyland. I was very sad that it closed as I arrived, but that just means I can book a future trip. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I recently looked at my analytics and 90% of you guys who watch my videos aren't actually subscribed. So please consider subscribing for some future travel inspiration, future content. And as always guys, peace out, and I will see you guys in the next video.